Good evening, fellas. Good evening. Give me 1 second. I guess you can hear me, right? Yeah, you should be able to. Yeah. I don't know if music is too loud. Let me just configure that. Hey there, Kirill. Good man. My kid just fell asleep, so I barely made it today. Yeah, that's how it is. That's how it is. All right, let me just see where we are. Why is it really this one? Yeah, it's not. So why is... Oh, okay. Is that a difference? Possibly, right? Yeah, okay. How are you guys doing? How's life? Give me 1 sec. Matty, my friend, good evening. Jesus fucking Christ. Bought a new car. Nice, man. That's actually pretty nice. That's awesome. All right, so that's good. Okay, great. Coming events, blah blah blah. Okay. So let's see what. Let's make some plan for today. Let's see what do we want to do today. It's kind of very late stream, so let's see if we can smack at least 2 hours today. So don't I have like shit? Wait. Good evening, everybody. No, I don't think it's this one. Is it? No, that's not the one. This one is called to-do list, right? Yeah, but that's not the one that I used to use. No. Yeah, it's to-do plus, I believe, right? Yeah, it's this one. Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know why I kind of removed that. Right. Okay, great. So let's see. So today, let's do the create an event form. Let's make some short plan because the stream just started. Upcoming events. Yeah. So we're gonna show something. UI. We're not gonna get obsessed too much by that. Okay, so let's kind of start somewhere, right? So we're gonna continue today with those events, and let's go ahead and you're the organizer. So where should I actually so we'll see. Actually, we'll probably need some meetups, some events on the user's dashboard, right? Events. Okay, so I guess yeah. So we can do it here. Okay, so let's start somewhere. So we're gonna go to events and no. Yeah, so we're gonna get over here, I believe, right? Get event dates. We're gonna get rid of that. Yeah, and then we can kind of smack this fella somewhere around here. So we're gonna maybe have another. No, okay, so maybe somewhere here. Oh, why do I keep doing that? Create an event. Create an events. Obi, good evening, my friend. How are you? Maybe we could have an add icon next to this tab, right? But that's a bit awkward. We could have one there, right? Let's see. I'll just test it out a bit. Add, create an event, organize an event, schedule. Yeah, okay. All right, events. So I guess if I go to Meetup, that's where we're rendering those events, right? Oh, this is the Meetup form, Jesus Christ. Yeah, Meetup events, exactly, right? So is organizer, right? Yeah, okay, sure. So we're gonna do this. Let's get in here. Then we're gonna show this create an event if you're an organizer. So if it's an organizer and that, and I am an organizer, in fact, let's add a little icon in here. So we're gonna say add or something, right? Yeah. We're gonna say class name with 6 maybe. Yeah. And then as always, let's say flex item center, justify center, gap 1. Create an event. Okay, great. Then this button is like super huge. We'll fix that. It doesn't really matter. So let's design this form, right? So what we're gonna do, let's go to our API, let's go to meetups, right? Let's go to the router and let's search for create events. Yeah, this one, this fell over here, right? And let's take this body, right? And what we're actually gonna do, so we're gonna take this AJV schema, right? So we're gonna generate this form very quickly with ChatGPT, right? So we're gonna prime it with our existing form, right? So if I'm gonna give it this form, I'm gonna give it this whole thing as before, right? So, oh fuck, I think I'm logged in a wrong account, right? I'm logged with my company account. Let's log in with, I think, is it Programmer Network account or is it my Gmail account? I don't remember which one am I paying for the version 4. Yeah, it's this one. Okay. So given this React form of mine, generate the same form with this schema, right? So it should kind of give us almost what we need. Form should we call create event. I want you to generate the form similar to just for the event with that given scheme, right? Interesting. All right, let's grab this, right? And then we're gonna modify it a bit. I mean, maybe it's gonna get opinionated at one point, right? Ah, my bad. All right, cool. Let's take a look at this. Let me go back to my API. And I'm gonna grab just those properties here that I generated this form with, right? And yeah, I'm gonna just replace this bad boy here. Um, JK, thank you very much, buddy. We're gonna get out. We're gonna clean that up eventually. But who cares, right? So get initial state. If there's data, yeah, use data. That's correct. So let's fold that. So this is also fine for now. Then we have this effect, right? Beautiful. Existing fields. What the fuck? Existing fields? Like even honestly, so even with ChatGPT lately, I think they did something to save money or whatever. It's actually becoming really annoying. I actually have to mute myself. It's actually becoming very annoying because they're constantly doing this crap, right? I'm pretty sure they're just trying to save some money, right? Because they keep doing this crap, just randomly generating half of the solution, right? I don't know why and I don't know what happened, but 100% they're trying to optimize something, right? Got a new guy starting work tomorrow. How would you guys let him get into a rather big? I mean, I hope you have some sort of onboarding, right? And I mean, if project is big or not, that's right. No, I mean, I'm saying they're saving money, not me. I am paying, right? The point is they have adjusted their algorithms to try and give you less relevant answers, right? Like they're constantly telling you, you know, oh, fill in the rest of the stuff yourself, right? Instead of just, I mean, I use ChatGPT primarily to automate stuff, right? And once it stops automating stuff, it loses value for me, right? I just use it so they do that for sure, yeah. Yeah, same, but it's just it wastes time, right? I constantly have to tell it that, right? All the time. Sometimes even 5 times in a row I have to tell it again to regenerate the whole thing, right? And it hasn't been happening before, right? So I'm sure that those assholes are probably just you know, they just did that for the sake of saving up money on their end and on their infrastructure and stuff, right? It's just, I don't know, kind of sucks, right? Yeah, 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 indeed, indeed. 100%, 100%. Like, it does make mistakes. I mean, again, as I was saying many months ago in this stream, we can't also be spoiled, right? Like, oh my God, yeah, it's an amazing tool either way, right? I think our perception has to change. We can't, you just, yeah, you know, that's why, again, I prime it with the stuff that I wrote already, right? And then so I don't, it's not like, I don't want to be a negative in a way to say I don't trust it, right? I do trust it. It's just I don't trust anyone. Like, I don't trust my colleague immediately. If my colleague is gonna write some code, that's why we review each other's code, right? So because I've heard many times people saying, "Oh, exactly." I mean, but that's the same with people, right? That's why, I mean, it's not that we don't trust the AI. When you go to work, you're doing code reviews, right? So you don't. I mean, it's not that you don't trust your colleagues. That the review process is always necessary. So it's kind of silly to say, oh, you shouldn't trust the chat gpt. I mean, it's not about trust. It's about, you should not ever in your life take code blindly for anybody and from anybody, right? And then just paste it, right? So of course, I mean, I don't trust it. I mean, I mean, uh, it's logical, right? I mean, you don't trust your colleague's code, right? Neither. So it's like, okay. I mean, Luin, are you a junior or senior? What is your sorry, what is your role? Uh, Smadi, my friend. Good evening. It's been a while, man. Okay, great. So that works. Great. Cannot read properly. Length, yeah. Value. Okay, so yeah, let me just go to this form that we just generated with ChatGPT. Right, there's some crap there. That's value. What? Where was that? Ah, I see. I see. Sorry, my bad. Okay, so let's go. No, that's the ape. Ah, okay. Give me a second. I can bounty, my friend. Good evening. Um, so you are currently, in a very bad place in the market, right? There's a lot of you guys, and especially especially companies which are not very experienced, right, are prone to just indefinitely doing that crap, right? So they might end up just talking to 100 people, right? Generally, I mean, or ideally, if you have a pool of solid candidates, you should never need to talk to more than 7 to 10, right? But then less experienced you are, you just increase that pool because more people you interview, more diminishing returns you have, right? Because at one point in time you're gonna start getting almost identical candidates, and you're gonna be forgetting the other ones. So yeah, it's just keep on going. I mean, use it as a learning experience. Tech Barbecue was pretty bad actually. It was a shitty conference. I'm gonna actually make a YouTube video, right? I'm gonna make a YouTube video about it and really give them a very bad feedback. I'm not impressed at all, unfortunately. Uh, but yeah, let's see how the conference in Stockholm is gonna be. We're going in on 19th, so let's see how that goes. At least, what did I want to do? Yeah, but I wonder which field is it failing at. Let's see. Spots, form.state.spots.value. Yeah. Let me just print my, I mean, all of this is my code of my own invention, so nothing is third party, so we should be able to debug that fairly easily. Let's get here. Let's click this fella. So what do we got? So form. Where's my state? It's here, right? So description, end date, location, spot, start date, title. So that's all fine, right? Oh shit, wait a minute. Are we missing maybe the value somewhere? All right, let's do a elimination process here. Let's try to see. It's hard to see now which field is actually failing. Okay, so title and description are good. Let's move this bad boy over here. So we'll do this until we find the fault one. That's still good. Great. This is probably going to be, so I think it's the select that's going to fail, right? I think no, actually this even select is fine. Okay, let's keep on going. Location type. Okay, spots are fine. What the fuck, man? Kidding me, bro? So wow, okay, super strange. Okay, is it spots? Yeah, so it's this guy that's failing. Value.state.spots type number. Okay, interesting. Let's get rid of the type. Okay, and let's remove this fella just to make sure it's that one that's failing. Yeah, it's that one. Okay, let's fix it. So type is indeed number, form, state, spots, value. Let's take a look at the state. Am I from Sweden? No, I'm from Denmark. Well, I'm not a native Dane, but I've been in Denmark for I guess sufficient amount of years. All right, let's take a look at that. And I lived in Sweden for 5 years as well. Spots value null. Oh, okay, so the value of the spots is null. That's why. So let's say 0 by default. So it's the initial value that's wrong that's making it explode, right? Yeah. All right, great. Okay, cool. So that's good. That's great. So that's actually fine, right? Now we'll obviously need to yeah. Let's see, event type. Yeah, so let's kind of just map to this, right? And yeah, exactly. So Copilot is in fact useful sometimes, right? So we have meetup, hackathon, blah blah blah. Let's use capitalize from actual Lodash, right? Just to get that first character capital, right? So meetup, hackathon, workshop, location type, beautiful. Let's do the same here. Black Side TV, thank you very much, buddy. Appreciate it. So let's do this. So location type, virtual in person. Yeah, sure. Virtual in person, hackathon, whatever. Yeah, so is this an actual calendar? Yeah. Okay, so this is not a completely disgusting calendar, actually. I didn't think this is a native one, right? Maybe, I don't actually know. We'll see. Okay, location. So the location probably should be an address, right? So Google Maps or some sort of a map, open source library like that Leaf thing We'll do that, but not yet, right? We're gonna, okay. Okay, is our validation out of the box working? It is beautiful. Yeah, okay, great. That's super, right? So location. I think the only thing that I probably want to do is make this description to use our what I recall our rich text editor, right? Uh, cock porn. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it, man. Good to have you here. Happy you like it. Cock porn. That's a beautiful name. All right. So create an event. All right. Event handle cancel. Right. So let's get over here and actually, yeah, we're already doing that. Beautiful. Right. Okay. So let's go to this fella here and say what was it? Handle cancel, right? And we're gonna say is creating event. We're gonna say false. Actually, we have to say set is creating event false, right? So let's do it step by step. So now I should be able to toggle between. And is this form gonna be here or somewhere else? We don't know. We don't care. Let's build the functionality of this whole meetup thing, and then we're gonna, when we get ourselves to the point of putting things in places, prettifying them and stuff, we're not there yet. So let's just not procrastinate and let's build things. Cockporn is arguably the best name I've seen on Twitch, and I've been on Twitch for a year. I think it's the most creative one. I don't know if he invented that or not, but it's quite brilliant. Actually, one funny story. So when my friend and I, when we bought the programmer.network domain, right, 8 years ago, we bought this domain 8 years ago, right? Another domain that was available, right, was prn.network, right? So this one was also available, and then we almost bought it, and then we realized that it doesn't stand for what we think. We thought that PRN was programmer network, but we realized that most people would think it's a porn network, right? So that's why we didn't really buy it. But yeah, back when we were buying programmer network, PRN was also available. We were nerds, like, yeah, wow, it's programmer network, but that's shorter, right? And then I think this third guy, Max, my friend from Germany, he said, guys, most people wouldn't think about programmer network if they see PRN. They would rather think something else. And we were like, what? Why would you, just standard classical nerds, sweaty nerds. Like, I see PRN is like programmer network. What else, right? It's like Pornhub, right? I thought it was always for programmers, a hub for programmers, right? Cock porn is still very creative. It's amazing, man. I must say it's beautiful. P Hub, right? Programmer Hub, right? P Hub. Shit, man, I hit enter. Fuck. No. I don't know what's on P Hub. Motherfuckers, man. Shit. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, Leo, fuck you, okay? Jesus Christ, man. Oof. Shit. Man. So close. So close. No, he wrote PHUB, and then I'm like, let's see what happens if I go there, right? I upload this to YouTube after the stream, and there's like just like, okay, a guy that watches porn during the streams. Unacceptable. Okay. Well, screw you guys, okay? All right, so let's keep on going with this. He triggered me so much, man. 2 seconds, like I was 1 microsecond faster of. Okay, name, start date. dude, like, you know what? I actually learned something new. To be very frank with you, I didn't even know that. Wow, actually, wait, I learned something new from ChatGPT. That's crazy, man. What? There's a type of an input called date time local. When was this released? What, I mean, I've been a developer for so many years. Like, how come I don't know about this? Kind of my ego is kind of hurt a bit now. Why did I not, or did I know? I don't think I knew about this. When was this released? That's crazy, man. I don't think it's a long time ago, or is it? No, it's not long ago. So it came with internalization. So it came with. So it's not long ago. Good, my ego is safe. No, 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 definitely not long ago. So it came with the. So with this recent ENTL API, I think, and this came, I think, a year or two ago. I don't think it's very old. You can also see that Safari doesn't support it at all. Internet Explorer. Okay, good. Yeah, but that's not okay. But that's not long ago, right? Uh, yeah, in JavaScript world. Yeah, in the web world, maybe no. But good, good. So Safari, fuck. Yeah, yeah, exactly. In this, you're actually right. I get you. I follow you. Yeah, yeah. It's like 3 days ago. Super. Yeah, yeah. In our industry, it's like I don't disagree. Released. Complex. Good evening, my friend. Qt dev makes you react in ways you didn't know you could. Yeah, I mean, working with dates in JavaScript, right? Is it has always been disaster, like a huge one. But okay, that's shit. You know what? The core question now is, should we use this? I mean, uh, so Firefox and Chrome support it. So I guess. So actually, no. I think we're good. But I mean, honestly, this is fantastic, man. Like, I mean, this is a huge thing, right? Yeah, yeah, I can imagine. No, seriously, but this stuff is really huge thing, right? I mean, I'm actually so happy that I've seen this because again, working with date in JavaScript is horrible, and having this native calendar finally, right? It's actually pretty awesome, man. Like you can choose the can I but I just wanted to be. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty fucking cool, man. Even though it's. Yeah, man, this is pretty cool, dude. Yeah. Think about it now a bit deeply. So wait, I can choose the time as well, right? Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. Okay. Well, this kind of okay. Wow. Okay, that's a bit fucked up, right? Yeah, yeah. This is native. Yeah, yeah. This is native. If you set your input type to date time local, yeah. So here it is. Yeah, yeah. Safari has zero support, right? I don't care about Safari honestly much. Maybe I should, but I don't, right? So it's but we'll see, right? But either way, I mean, it's good. So we're moving into some direction at least, and then the date should be the same as it always has been, right? No, I mean, I don't. I mean, honestly, if any of you is using Safari, you probably shouldn't anyway, right? But yeah, who am I to comment on that, right? Use whatever you want, of course, but I mean, the Safari doesn't suck. I think the biggest problem, and when I was a lot younger, I was obsessed by the ECMAScript committee, right? And I was a guy who was really, I cared about JavaScript a lot. I mean, I read the JavaScript spec like twice over past 15 years. So there were times when I really cared, and I was following all the drafts, and I was following the ECMA script committee discussions, right? And I remember those discussions, like browsers like Safari and Apple and Internet Explorer. They were always the ones who were actually slowing down the progress of everything, right? So those companies that behave like that, I would just neglect completely and make them redundant, right? Because one thing that people don't understand with JavaScript is that the biggest bottleneck of JavaScript getting new features isn't the worldwide committee, right, or WWW committee. It is the browser vendors, right? Because whenever you have a feature that they propose, now you have to sit with different vendors, and they have to, you have this, hey Apple, are you willing to implement this feature in your browser? And then they're like, no, or yes, but we want it like this. And then, you know, Safari, like Firefox, Mozilla comes and says we want it like this. So that is the hard part of the internet, right? Is that with so many browsers, right? So yeah, that is the problem, right? But anyway, fuck that. I mean, it's screw this. Like, it's not that relevant. Let's build the feature and then we're gonna write. I disagree. I mean, I think, I mean, it's an overstatement. You cannot write. We have to be careful with the work. It's where it sucks, right? The internet is the world today. All the shit that you do it in the browser almost. There are still few exceptions to that rule, right? But like one fundamental thing that people forget is that um, people say, why, you know, there's so many bugs or this or that on the internet, why there's so many libraries, why there's so many frameworks, and the answer is very simple, right? Because it's the most popular, right? You cannot compare. You can say, hey, why don't other languages have so many libraries or whatever? Well, they do, and they would have more if they were more popular, right? So I mean, you know, um, so yeah, but yeah, that's a different philosophy and different discussion, right? But in simple words, yeah, it's not true, right? I don't think that. I think the complexity of the applications, you know, today and 20, 30 years ago has changed like so much that it's ridiculous to compare, right? People are like, because it's a different world and it's different requirements and rights and stuff like that. So we can't. I have, yes, yes. I actually asked today. So what I wanted to do, I wanted to kind of try the Zig programming language because it wasn't as obscure as Rust and some of those other languages. So I wanted to actually let me see if anyone actually has responded to my question. So what I wanted to do, maybe in the stream, I wanted us to write some of the. um I wanted us to write. Give me a second. Where was that? Yeah. So I asked. Yeah, they didn't answer, right? But I wanted to actually implement this in Bun, right? Because there's this issue which I don't think they're gonna solve in a long time. So let's see if this one of the contributors to the to Bun responds. Then maybe we're gonna spend like 2-3 weeks writing some Zig and trying to implement this performance observer into the Bun. That would be. Well, the only comparison you can make between C and Rust and Zig and those all these languages is that they're used for the different, they solve the same problems. You want to use all three of those languages to write drivers or CPU drivers, GPU to write an operating system and stuff. So in that, they're the same. I don't think that they're the same at all in anything else. The C is a very imperative language with old ideas. Rust has different ideas, deals with memory differently, right? It has new ideas and very different from what we've seen before, right? So I don't think that they're not. I would say they're quite opposite. I would say that the Rust is literally not anything at all like C, right? But they do solve the same problem, which, or to say they are meant to solve the same problems, right? Okay. Where did I add this crap? Okay, so if we get over here, so let's kind of, yeah, it should be date time format. Meetup, hackathon, workshop are only allowed values. Okay, so all of that stuff is working. That's cool. It seems to me just that the location isn't actually specified. So let's get over there. Oops. Yeah. Location. Let's unfold. And that eventually is going to be some sort of a, we'll see. It's going to be more complex, some of those fields, right? All right, so great. So let's hook that up to some API that we wrote. Let's go to our Swagger spec. Let's open our Swagger here. Let's go to courses, ratings, meetup event, post. So it's this fella over here, right? Exactly, right? Yeah. Where is it? This thing, right? Let's copy that crap. And yeah. And so it's taking handle create, which essentially I assume comes from here, right? Fastify.js. Meetup events. Oh, okay. So yeah, it should be actually here. Okay. Right. Yeah. Let's go to, I don't know. What is this? No. Let's go over here. Yeah, let's whatever, right? Let's just grab one of those bad boys here, and then we can let me take a look at this. Do I actually return the event that I create? I do actually. Okay, so we do actually return it. So that's great. So just let's get back here. So we actually do a post here, right? And let's give it the body or whatever. Let's actually give it the event, and then yeah, just clean that up. For now, one sec. Let's do this. And let's go to this bad boy here. Let's say, actually, no. Yeah. Let's get over here. Yeah, actually, so we do that already. Why am I spreading this thing here? It makes... it's my wife that came from work, but it's very close, yes. She does seem like my mom sometimes, yes. Handle create. Yeah, so that's, I guess, fine. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Great. Beautiful. All right. Cool. Let's give that a shot. Dude, no worries, man. You cannot disrespect me because also no offense, but I would have to care, right? And I don't. All right, let's see. Let's see what happens. Should be integer. Ah, shit. Should be in date time format. All right, I see. Okay, cool. I see. All right, all right, cool, cool, cool. Yeah, we're gonna. I mean, yeah, it's kind of. I think it's very. Yeah, when it comes to the posts and stuff, I'm kind of losing a bit of hope there, right? Because it takes a lot of effort and knowledge and stuff to write an actual good blog post, right? And people don't seem to be wanna. I don't think they wanna actually do that. Give me a second. So let's go back here. Cedric, my friend, sleep well, dude. I started very late. My son couldn't sleep, so it took a it took a lot longer than I expected. So that's how it is. What can I do? Yeah, but posts on that platform, most of them are really bad, right? So I more mean the quality rather than quantity, right? The problem is that 99% of the stuff written there, if you go to that feed, is really really bad, right? So the question is, right? The question is, how do you get the good people to write it, right? Mm. The experience level. So the reason, look, almost everything that you guys might ask on the stream, almost genuinely, I'm not exaggerating, has been tested, right? The reason why experience level doesn't make sense is because experience level is a metric that is, if you give it to a person, if you give it to a person to evaluate themselves, they will always fail, right? It's very subjective. Yeah, I see a lot of new developers after a year on LinkedIn saying senior software engineer, right? And that is obviously a very malicious thing for them. Um, um, No, I mean I do want the experiences of the tools, right? I think, but giving people an ability to decorate themselves with some sort of a title is ridiculous, right? Like your actions and your work define your seniority, right? Not your self perception, right? You're not senior just because you say that you are. It's or junior or whatever, right? You're not a good person if you call yourself one. You're a good person if you act like one, right? So sure, absolutely, 100%, right? But I mean, I get it, right? I more mean, right, like putting a flag, right, on a platform where it says I'm an expert, or I'm like, nobody is gonna say I'm a noob, right? Nobody is gonna say, and I also think about it this way, right? Because also, right, like when you ask somebody, for example, when I implemented long ago those articles on programming network, people said, hey, why don't you include a field in an article where people can choose, is this a beginner article, expert, whatever. And it's the same thing, right? Like it's relative to who you ask. For a complete beginner, something that they're writing about might be the hardest thing, but for some, right? So it's yeah, that's why, right? Exactly, right? Because it's I would much rather not have it than have it inaccurate, right? Because again, you might come and filter out articles, say I want to read expert articles, and then you go there and it's like, what is variable hoisting, right? Or what is implicit coercion or something like that, and you're like, man, this is not right. Of course, I mean, it's but that's why, I mean, I don't have those platforms. Those platforms are the content on Twitter. The content on those platforms is that sort of content, right? I mean, just think about it this way, right? If you go to YouTube, right? If you look at the Twitch streamers, right? If you look at any content creators, which ones are the most popular? Well, those that either complain the most or shit on something, right? If I kind of shifted my perception of streaming, if I streamed to gain money, I would just bitch about things nonstop, like constantly. I wouldn't even code. I would react to videos because that's what sells, right? And it's easy, right? And it's also easy. Even a complete beginner can appear as an expert because it's easy to talk about code, right? It's way easier to talk about code than to write it, right? Because if you ask an average junior developer today about any technology, they're gonna know. It's like, I know Bun, I've heard about it, right? But because everybody is just spending their time on Twitter, or those streamers are just reacting to reactions of reactions, it's like, but when you actually have to sit and build some shit, it's like, oh, okay, well, it's slightly different, right? Um, Yeah, and that's where the experience is, and that's what the experience defines. It defines what you're actually capable of doing, and also having something to show for, not just, oh, this fucking JavaScript, it's such a bad language. It's like, right? It's like, come on, man, grow up, grow the fuck up, man. Wow, what is this, bro? What? What the hell, man? Okay, I've never seen that date format before. Oh my god, wait, what the fuck? I mean, the thing is, right, again, I think there's no such thing as noob, right? I mean, I think you so for example, if I wanted to, if I my pleasure, Spectre, like if I wanted to learn any of those languages, right, I would just find a reason why I would want to use them, and then I would build a service that I need, right? You cannot again there's there are two ways you can approach the language. You either use it constantly and then you learn the ecosystem of it and its strengths, or you don't, right? That's it's not learning some language or syntax is super easy. You can do that in a few days, but to memorize that crap a week later, that's hard. uh, it's because I've been playing guitar for like almost 25 years. I've been coding for 16, 17 years, professionally working, right? And I've tried 500 different languages, but I forgot most of them. I wrote Haskell, Clojure, Pascal, Ruby on Rails, and all of that. But I forgot, right? Because I didn't use those languages in like million years, right? So it's pointless to learn something unless you're gonna actively solve problems with it, right? It's the same with German. I used to speak German, when I was in high school. Now I don't anymore, right? So it's like it's you cannot sit and learn the one. There is one positive note though. Like if you learn new languages, you can kind of take some concepts from it and then apply it in the language that you write right now. But it's not the syntax or whatever. It's this whole ecosystem that you have to memorize. You have to follow the changes. Like in Go, you have channels and you deal with concurrency in a certain way. In Rust, you deal with memory in this way, right? With borrowing and all of that shit. And there are new things, exactly, new APIs coming out. So that is right. Yeah, exactly. Like daytime local. Exactly. Exactly. Wow, this is the strangest that I've ever seen date and time. Wow. Okay. Yeah, I mean that's why choose one language and become expert at it, right? It's way more valuable to for everybody than constantly jumping back and forth and trying to learn too many things, right? Because at the end of the day, if you can build quality with one thing, that's all that matters, right? Um, it's better to be good at one thing than be average at many things, right? I mean, popcorn, right? It doesn't matter, right? That's not a bug. That's this platform is built with. I mean, okay, maybe it is, right? But I cannot babysit every feature, right? There's no need. I don't think that anyone would want to choose both two white collars, right? So I'm not gonna write. But I get your point. It's not that it's your point is valid, right? But it's not it's not valid now because I don't want to spend time on now checking the difference in shades or whatever, right? Um, but I hear you, right? My assumption is that logically people are not going to choose two same colors, right? Because that doesn't make any sense, right? How do we convert this crap though? Okay, give me 1 second. Ah, got it. Okay, I'm gonna take a look. I'm gonna take a look. Got it. Do I have a definition of done? I mean, all of those are kind of project management 101 terms, right? They change, right? In reality, is a bit different than right. But do I have a definition of done in this project? No, 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 I do not. It's really depends on the feature and stuff like that, right? All right, give me a second there. DoD is a project management concept. It's definition of done, and essentially, yeah, it is a good thing to keep in mind and within your team, right? But it's yeah, it's yeah, too many acronyms, too much stuff, right? Start date. Okay. How did I implement all these inputs? I forgot. How did I implement my core library? Okay, so this is gonna give me that. Okay, sure. Okay, so let's do this. Change. Where is it? Start date. Yeah. Okay. Well, actually, what am I even doing? Okay. Ah, shit, sorry. That's completely wrong. Shit. Jesus Christ, man. Why didn't it help? Yeah. Okay. Oh my god, like why is it so random? Like it generates I'm a metalhead. I mean, I'm a metalhead, so I haven't heard of no, no. I mean, the music today is not typical for this stream. It's usually metal playing here. But yeah, just it took me a while to put my son to sleep. I barely made the stream, to be honest with you. I almost gave up because I actually, yeah, he had a bit hard time falling asleep. What's happening? Ah, okay, I see. Try that. All right, so that's kind of more reasonable. I would like to think. Shit. I haven't actually been to Roskilde, yeah, ever. Honestly, I've been almost every year in Copenhagen. This year as well, I've been to Copenhagen. Then, but yeah, uh, yeah, but I'm sure that I have a couple of friends then that they must liking them because I'm more into I play instrumental music and stuff and metal, but mostly like I'll actually share a playlist later. Then you can kind of get to know what I like personally. Okay, let me just try this crap out. Just what? Oh, I see. Okay, wait a minute. Uh-huh, uh-huh. Very strange. Value. Ah, okay, I see. Yeah, because we're setting shit that's yeah. We'll need probably to read the docs for this guy because it's setting. Cockporn. Thank you very much, man. You're definitely the most interesting nickname so far, for sure. And also some amazing points. Thank you, man. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Appreciate everybody for all of that stuff. So, yes. So the problem here that I see now is that, and let me just confirm that with myself. Shit. So I'm just gonna do this for a second. Yeah. So how do we get this format back to this from the JavaScript format to that? So how do we convert it? So I guess is it maybe this datetime format? COM, thank you very much, buddy, for that. So how do I convert that date? Fucking dates, man, so annoying. Maybe this. Yeah, I mean the thing is, right? So the thing is, right? Now I mean, what my Postgres expects is one thing, but what this input expects is another. It's very hard for me to figure out. Okay, let's ask ChatGPT. How do I convert JS date? Oh my god, man. Yeah, input expects it in its way that in the way that it generates it, right? I guess, but shit. Even ChatGPT has the data. Ah, working with datetime in JavaScript can be tricky. But so could this be it? Um, Shit. Little Leon, my best man. Good evening. All right, let's try this crap, right? Let's try this. That's what it is, right? I need the datetime local value accepts the value exactly in the shape, in the reverse shape, right? Give me 1 second. No, it doesn't work. No, Unix timestamp doesn't work. No. Don't worry. We'll figure it out, right? It doesn't really. I mean, I wish that I'm not even doing this right now because it's completely irrelevant, right? Because we'll before we finalize this feature, we'll clean up some of this stuff. So I just want to get over this. I don't want to spend another 10 minutes on converting date into something, right? Because this whole platform is built inside this stream, so the time we have is incredibly limited, right? To waste time like this and that, right? Yeah, that's the format, and that's the format that this is. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. All right, so there we go. Okay, good. So that utility kind of did work, and it's fine. Um, so that's okay. Yeah, it did. It did for sure. Yeah. Hey, programmer network. Hey, Alex. What can I expect from working in a new startup? 7 employees that raised 1 million in seed round. It would be a backend dev, but probably have to do front. I mean, I've been working in startups for 15 years. I have never worked for a company that wasn't a startup since day one of my career. So, and I could never imagine myself doing that, because the beauty of startups is that you wear, as we always say in the startups, you wear many hats, right? In a startup, you're gonna get some job and it's gonna be defined in a certain way. But if you're especially proactive, right, you'll be able to do a lot more than that, right? Uh, well, I mean, I don't think that writing tests is waste of time. I think quite contrary, right? That's a huge misconception in this community, which is why most of the code bases suck today, and for many years do, right? Oh, let's not, because we had many discussions in this stream about that. There's a lot of people out there who think that writing documentation takes time, right? Who never actually think how much time it takes when you don't have documentation, when you have to onboard people, when you have to hire people, when you have to memorize what you did, right? So, but yes, you're right in a way. The thing is, the reason why startups don't do some of those things. So this is the harsh truth. Let me tell you the harsh truth, right? I'm gonna share with you, I think, the most realistic thing. So, uh, when you are a startup, right? This is literally. Let me just be very direct here. Let me just kind of explain how it works, and this comes from 15 years of experience working in the startups, right? And I made those same mistakes. So startups don't have money to hire experts, but a lot of experts are created by startups, because when you are in a startup, you wear many hats, so you have the opportunity to learn. But the thing is, since startups have limited funds, they're going to try, obviously, to hire as best as they can, but you'll never get the top notch, right? So the reason why some of those things never happen in the startups, it isn't because it's fast paced, it's because people that get hired in the startups are simply mediocre, or I'm not saying that they don't become experts, they do. But I've been in one of my first startups, I kind of sucked ass as well, right? And I learned, right? But right. So the thing is, the unit testing and documentation and stuff. Any good engineer, at least documentation wise, is going to do that, no matter fast paced, slow paced, right? Documentation is fundamental for so many things, not just engineers, right? But what you can expect is, yes, exactly. You can expect that. Yeah, that you can do many more things that they tell you in your interview, right? And hopefully you want to do that, because there's no better place to learn than in the startup, right? Well, I mean, failing. Yeah, I mean, failing is that's a very old saying. That's failing fast is a concept from a book, maybe from a very long ago, but also from the Lean Startup book, right? And there are many shapes of failure and success, right? As a startup, 99.9% of startups that succeed, they start with one idea, then they actually their product ends up being something completely different, right? So failing is that's relative, right? But either, like, when you start a company, you might start a programmer network, and then it might end up being a network for pet owners, right? So I think startups are beautiful, right? And just be open-minded. I mean, if you are a person, the most important thing for me when I hire people is that they're proactive, right? For example, I'm a tech lead at Dream Data at the company where I work, and my philosophy towards engineering and also leading teams is very simple. I love people who are proactive. I love people who take initiative. I I don't like I like to make teams that are not dependent on anyone. So I like each individual to take. So for example, a couple of weeks ago and many times in the stream, you guys have asked is like I think it was Matty who asked like what happens, hey Alex, what happens if one of the developers, I don't know, breaks production or whatever. And the thing is, like at Dream Data where I work, we do continuous integration and deployment, so we push and deploy code every day, 20, 30 times, right? And we break things, right? But then we fix the things as well. So um, the thing is, like, if you want to be good in startups, if you want to do well, and if you want to grow and get better position, more salary, you have to be proactive. You have to don't be reactive, right? Don't wait for things to come to you. You be the one to don't suggest things but have no interest to do them yourself. Don't complain, right? If you can't make it better. So if you complain about things, then make sure you can make them better. If you can't make them better, don't complain, right? So there's a lot of those things you learn it with experience, and some people can hear me say it and they can apply it tomorrow, some can't, right? You should suggest any ideas, of course. You should treat every company you're in as it's your own, especially if you're in the startups, right? And of course, man. Of course, you should. You should be proactive as much. There's no CTO, there's no founder out there who would not appreciate that you take initiative, right? So don't complain. Do something actionable. Anyone can complain. You can, like, this community is, right. This community, the programming community, is the most childish community on earth from any other profession, right? And there's no community in which people complain as in this one. You have bunch of immature kids complaining about things, but they're not really doing anything, right? When you ask them, okay, what did you do to make that better, right? Okay, well, nothing, right? So it's just a bunch of fucking little pricks, complaining and acting cool, right? You get a job, you write 3 components, and you're already an expert, right? Um, but genuinely, man, just think about it this way. Whenever I'm in doubt, right, I just ask myself, and this is a really good thing to always ask yourself. If I had a company myself, I had limited amount of money, I invested all of my savings, what type of person would I like to hire? Would I like to hire somebody that's proactive, that's going to take ownership, that's not going to complain, but instead of that, just do things? Or do I want someone who just sits and waits for me to tell them what to do, right? And genuinely, I mean, like, those things that I'm talking about now are so fundamental to where your career is going to be, right? Yeah, yeah. I mean, like, the thing, right? Just yeah, it's literally like that, right? So don't complain, do things. Anyone can complain, like, there's a saying, everyone can say it, very few can do it, right? So just be actionable, right? Try to just prove your worth and your intellect and your knowledge by doing things. Because again, anyone can talk, anyone can you get what I mean, right? So what? Complaining and being a smartass is the easiest. But then when you ask people to actually do it, then they usually just vanish. They're nowhere, right? Wow. Okay. Well, I mean, look, those types of things now are always relative to where you are, right? So there's no those things that I'm saying now are very general, right? They're kind of rules that you can almost apply anywhere. Meaning being proactive, not complaining, and not gossiping and stuff like that. Now, when it comes to feedback, you have to be, you have to have social skills a bit. You have to give it time a bit there, figure out how the energy is. Is your team more leaning towards being friends, or are you just distant colleagues, right? So that this is where the soft skills come in. This is what you have to figure out. For example, me as a tech lead, I have to give feedback to people, but I can't give the feedback in the same way to everybody. So this is why managers get paid a bit more, because you have to find your way around people, and that's the skill that you have to either develop. Some people are born with that, they are just good socially. Some people need time. But either way, right, those types of things, no, you cannot read this anywhere. It's contextual. It's based on where you are, who the people in your team are, right? But you can always get around people, right? You just need to find a way individually, how, right? Yeah, and that post that I wrote, right, was very different, right? It's very common in this industry, right? When you join the new company, you look at the code and you're like, oh my fucking god, who wrote this crap, right? And the reason why that is childish, right, is because again, you need to know the context, you need to know the situation, because many startups, when many companies, when they started, they had one or two people. You had a person who was maybe a back-end engineer, and he learned, I don't know, React in 2 nights, 2 evenings. He built some shitty UI that just worked, right? So there's a lot of history behind early age startups, right? When you look at that code, the founder's code, the founder's intention wasn't to write the perfect code. Their intention was to see, if that product makes sense, so they can shut it down immediately. You get what I mean? So there's so many of those details that you need to kind of give it time to understand. Maybe the person was incompetent, which is also fine, because you're paid to make it better, right? uh yeah, exactly. I mean, so there's so many of those things, right? And complaining about it is because tomorrow somebody else is going to do the same to your code, to my code, right? All of this stuff we're building today, in 5-10 years, it's going to be also like, this thing sucks, right? So it's like, so just don't complain, man. Just be cool, right? Be actionable. If something is bad, you can silently fix it. You don't have to ask for permission. And this is the type of persona any company wants to hire, right? You would want to hire such a person, right? You would be like, fuck, man, I want this guy as well, right? I mean, you know, why am I? Yeah, honestly, yeah. I mean, it's just genuine. I'm not. Yeah, it's just. It's. I think it's very important, right? Those types of details are actually so fundamentally important for everybody, right? Because this is what defines the trajectory of your career, right? Are you going to be a person that others are going to depend on eventually, and you want to be that person, or are you going to be the person that's just going to be fed tasks and eventually you're going to be replaced and automated by the AI, right? Because the thing is, I mean, I think maybe, yeah, I mean, yeah, it is, right. I think it's very important, right, for all of us to understand that we are also now very our jobs are going to become, I think one thing that we have to understand as software engineers today that has changed really bad, that doesn't go in our favor is that you need to, so this is my prediction, and I honestly genuinely think it's going to be 100% true, because all of the predictions I made so far, at least internally in my own brain, have been true. And I recently spoke to Ole, CTO, my CTO, and we had a very nice discussion. And I think, okay, let me just make a step back. So there's this book called Inspired, right? This book was written by Marty Kagan. He's the king of product, basically. He's like Jesus of product in Silicon Valley, right? And if you haven't read this book, you should really do it. It's really good. It's called How to Create Tech Products Customers Love, right? And there's one of the things that he says in this book. He says, if you're only utilizing your developers to write code, you're only utilizing them at the best 50%. So he says, if you're only using your engineers to write code, then you're basically failing in product development, because your developers can come up with a lot of good insights, good suggestions, good solutions, because their job is to solve problems, right? So not just our job is not to write code, our job is to solve problems. And I think sooner you realize this, because AI is here, right? And AI sooner or later, if not already, is going to write code that's better than yours, right? That's without a question. This is not a matter of opinion, this is factual, right? But one thing that you can help yourself to stay relevant as a software engineer is to infiltrate yourself in your company. So you're not just writing code, you're being part of the product. You're discussing the product, discussing the solutions. So this is going to be the value of developers as we move forward. So as we move forward, the amount of lines of code you're going to be able to write is going to matter way less. What's matter a lot more is going to be how well do you understand your domain, the field in which you're building the product for. So for example, if you're working in a banking sector, how well do you understand the problem of the customers in that sector, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So when I tell you this, I say it from the best intentions. Like, if you stay this sweaty nerd who just discusses frameworks and languages and some fucking shitty library, you're going to be out of job in not too many years, because you will be automated, right? Because this society and our whole field has moved to product-led development way like 15 years ago. So your software isn't in focus anymore. It's the product and the customer that's in a huge focus, right? So this is so fundamental to understand. Like, if you want to stay relevant, you have to understand that the value of code is going to drastically decrease, and the value of you as a engineer solving problems in a certain category for a certain persona or a customer is going to matter a lot more, right? So and now this goes to say what I was saying, being proactive and doing right. This is just how it is already, right? For those of you who've been watching me for a long time, at Dream Data, where I work, we use the OKRs, objectives and key results. And for example, at Dream Data, all of our teams are independent, right? So at Dream Data, where I work, we have different teams. Management comes to us every quarter and says, look, guys, your team needs to solve those 4 things this quarter. Then my team decides how to do that. So instead of you being... So in simple words, at the place where I work, there's nobody who's deciding for me and my team what we are going to do. We are given, so our CTO, CEO, and co-founders, they come and say, hey guys, we need to solve this problem for the customer this quarter. And then we as a team, 5 of us in my team, we have to find solutions how to actually solve them, right? So, and this is where OKRs and KPIs are a bit different, right? So this system already shows you, and OKRs are a very old system, right? It shows you that people like autonomy, people don't like to be tooled, right? So any rational developer is like, I want to have a word in what I'm doing. I don't want to just come to work and write code, right? So yeah, this is how it is, and I think that sooner you understand that you're not a tool anymore. You're right. Yeah, I cannot go into this. This is a huge discussion. I could talk about this for like 3 days. Let's stop about that there. Yeah. CTO, I mean, CTO is not what many people think it is. A role of CTO is not to write code. A CTO might write the code with if a startup has 2, 3, 5, 7 people, sure. CTO is probably today more important than a CEO, right? A CTO's job is to understand the product the best by far, understand the customer, and CTO is generally the one who laid the foundation of the whole thing and is there with all of that knowledge, right? But CTO generally in any company that's a scale up from 50 plus people doesn't code, right? Well, CEO, well, it depends, right? I mean, this depends. Those things are not set in stone, right? Those things are not. Those things are not. Depends on your organization. Depends on your structure, right? So um, sometimes they overlap a lot, right? Sometimes they complement each other, right? So the CEO doesn't have to be a person, right? So that's the thing with business, right? Like you always want to hire a person that complements you and fills in the gap that you have. So for example, if you are you can be a CTO that's like super technical, but you lack communication skills, right? Then you would hire a CEO or whatever that has all of that business knowledge. He's charismatic and stuff. Or you might be a CTO that's really good with people, but not so technically strong, right? Maybe you founded the company, you were the strongest back then. Then you would hire like some one or two good, like, I don't know, architects or whatever, good staff engineers, right? But those things are not set in stone, right? Which role does what is the beauty of founders, right? But yeah, it's a long, super long discussion, right? I mean, maybe we're gonna have one stream and we just talk about all of this stuff, right? But there's a lot there, right? Okay. Um, shit, I don't even know where I am. So many different subjects. My brain is no. This project is. I don't think this project is ever. This project, if it ever gets any success, it's gonna be organic success. I might introduce like $2 a month, something that people are willing to pay for. The hardest thing when it comes to building products is finding something that people are willing to pay for, right? Do you think that a person like me who is still at school, I mean, of course, programming is not going anywhere, right? Programming is here to stay forever. It's just that it's going to change, right? So well, like by the time you're in university, you just have to figure out what it is that you want to do, right? Programming is not going anywhere. It's changing, right? I mean, again, programming has been changing, since day one, right? 30 years ago, people wrote assembly, then they wrote C and Pascal and stuff like that, and right. So programming is a living thing, right? This AI revolution is just one of the revolutions we had. We had many revolutions, right? Yeah, wait, it's a lot of messages. Hey, Alex, currently fixing. I mean, you can make that decision, Kirill. Just take that on yourself and do whatever you find more reasonable, right? Click a little bit and then see. Uh, but I think, as I said in many of the streams before, right? As long as any of us don't expect that the world is gonna spin around us, then we're fine. So if you're a professional already, follow what's happening around you, see what other people are doing. follow, successful people, see what they're doing, right, and do the same at the very least, or do better than them, right? The worst thing that you can expect is that you're going to sit with the knowledge you have now and think, oh my god, we're going to get out of a job. Yes, you will. If you don't start using AI, if you're not adopting to accepting the reality, that's really all, and that's how it has always been, right? I remember, like maybe 10 or 15 years ago, there were a lot of people who had a hard time leaving jQuery, right? And Angular came out, they were complaining, oh my god, this, that, right? And then eventually some of them moved on and some didn't, right? So um yeah, jQuery is still amazing. Give me 1 second. Let me change this music. I don't know what the fuck is this music, man. Like, I never heard of this in my life. Like, how did this start playing on this playlist is beyond me, dude. Like, Jesus Christ, man. All right. So okay. So obviously this form kind of sucks. What else did I want to do? I didn't basically do so many discussions. I didn't do anything. We didn't do anything today almost. So I'll let you guys chat a bit. Let me just try fixing this. Otherwise, I'm gonna end up the stream soon, and I'm gonna go to bed without actually finalizing absolutely anything today. So we'll need to, yeah. Let me just see. Let's just try to at least. I think this. Wait a minute. Should be a type of integer. Okay, give me one moment here. I mean, the thing is, right? Like, I wrote a lot of plain JavaScript and jQuery as well, and actually, probably the most amount of sites I made was with jQuery very long ago. And sure, that looks ugly in that sense, but when you create your mini library, mini utility library and stuff, and you abstract it out a bit, then it kind of, you can still make it, right? When you make it event driven, right? When you don't, manipulate the DOM, but rather the data, and then write your own renderer or something, it almost feels like React or anything else, right? Of course, it's fundamentally different on how it reconciliates, if I may say, things, right? But you can yeah, you could still make it, pretty nice, right? Actually, but yeah, for sure, it's just different, right? Um, yeah, there's a new JavaScript framework every 3 seconds. I mean, again, just build something, right? As long as we produce something with this, with all of those tools, it's good, right? It's just kind of hilarious. There has never been so many tools in history of web, and I don't think that people are building anything with it, right? So that's kind of the paradox, right? It's like React, Angular, Svelte. This, who cares, man? Just build something, right? Build something, make a business, make people use it, right? Should be of types. Who cares, right? I mean, but Svelte optimizes your code during the build time, not during runtime. That changes everything. It's like, no, it doesn't, man. The thing is, that's very true, and I agree. I agree with you 100%. 100%. Oh, I see. I see. Give me 1 second here. No, that's not what I wanted. That's not what I wanted. Where is it in change? Yeah. Just build things, right? And that's it, really. Like, create. Okay. Did we finally pass the fucking validation, man? Yeah, we did. Okay, let's take a look at the backend. Yeah, all right, we did. Oh wow, there's a really good question. Hey Alex, I work at a product-based company where multiple teams developing one product. My team is performing great, but one of the teams is performing really bad for years, and management does not know how to solve the issue, and they failed multiple times. I want to take the ownership, but I'm not sure what would be the best approach. I'm close to one. I think in those circumstances, it's a good question. I actually had similar experience before. I think one thing that you could do without firing the people, because that's also incredibly hard in some countries, especially if you haven't given written feedback to each one of them, or if you haven't figured why they're. But you could kind of try swapping the people around, right? So you could move some of those people to different teams, and you could kind of try, but you would have to first see if there's interest of people to actually move and work on that. And of course, the only second way would be to define what do you mean by performance, right? And then involve some KPIs and some performance metrics that, or kind of do something like OKRs, right? So as I was saying, for that team, you could basically do something like OKRs, like we're doing a dream data, because look. If the whole team is the problem, right? Okay, I mean it's very hard now to give you a concrete answer, because it's very also less likely that you can say there's one team that doesn't perform well, right? You could probably dive deeper into that and figure out who out of those people is actually not, let's say, doing enough of code or whatever, because it's kind of shitty to do that. But if it comes to that, then you can go and say, okay, well, how many commits do we have? Who did this and that? For example, you could kind of set up something like Swarmia, right? Swarmia is a product that you can get. You could set up something like this, have it have a Slack integration, then you can see basically some KPIs and performance metrics in there, right? But not to go too crazy and now with a 40 minutes answer, right? Which the other thing you can do is kind of try implementing the OKRs for that team. So basically, trying to keep them completely trying to keep them completely autonomous, right? But giving them deadlines. So hey, this quarter you have those 3 objectives to do, and then just see if they're gonna do it. Now, are they gonna do it all 3 in the last month of the quarter or whatever? But you also, like, it's very hard to give you the response to that, because I don't know how you measure what does it mean non-performant, right? And stuff like that, right? Interesting. Okay, the foundation of the project is real bad. There are a lot of bugs and slow progress, and when they fixing bugs, they cause other bugs. Well, I mean, okay, well that's now of course a little bit also related to competence, right? Oh, clearly, right? But it's hard, right? It would require somebody to look at that organization and see what's happening, right? No, not. I disagree with Bounty here. I mean, but okay, I don't disagree. But my philosophy, I don't trust in QA, right? In QC. For me, I don't trust in those concepts. Every programmer should be responsible for their code, right? Your job is not to write some shit and then someone else fixes that. That's what QA and QC is. You write some crap and then you're like, if it breaks, it's not my problem. Well, that's what creates fundamentally bad software in the first place. Leo, sleep well, my friend. Thank you very much. I'll see you tomorrow in the stream, okay? So QA and QC, the existence of those concepts is why some code is bad. Is because you imagine if you had a physical worker building a building, constructing a building, and he is like, I don't give a shit, I'm just gonna put this brick on, and then someone else is gonna come and check if that's good or not, right? So it's like I don't like that. I'm not a fan of I mean, not in software engineering. I'm not saying that in some other industries it doesn't make sense, but I think every developer should be responsible for their code. And if that code breaks, which is fine, the code breaks all the time. We all face that. That same person should have responsibility to fix it. But it should not be someone else's responsibility to fix stuff that you break, right? Because that then creates this very lousy and very lazy way of building software in the first place. Because if you have no responsibility for your code breaking, then you don't care, right? Then you build a whole generation of developers who are just, well, QA is going to find it. You shouldn't have somebody else fixing your bugs, right? Which means you should focus, you should build security first. I don't know which other words would I add to it, but you should always strive to build security first, validation first type of code. This should become your obsession. You can see even with this programmer network, those forms are validated like 5 different ways, right? And once you set up the initial system like that, then it's just natural. You can see here, I can't get around this even if I wanted to, because I made the system so strict, right? So I think your developers, that team needs a better roadmap. You need to break those tasks down, figure out where that legacy code is, which parts of the system are the most buggiest and the most crucial ones, which parts of those systems need to work the best always versus some other ones. There's a concept like sometimes you can use your tech debt as a feature as well, right? Meaning sometimes you can write some shitty code really fast that complements your product and builds and brings value to your customers, but it doesn't have to be great code. It can still be a little crappy, but then some other pieces of your system have to be like super resilient, right? But yeah, it's very difficult, right, to say the right thing, because it's very complicated, right? When you say something like, hey, the team is not performant, that is really the thing is, I think I9, right? I think a huge fundamental issue with a lot of developers is that they don't understand that you don't have to ask permission about everything, right? I think that I have never seen in my career that any CTO, any leader just tells the team just rewrite everything, right? So this is like a small team type of culture. That's why I talk so much about autonomy, about proactiveness. That specific team doesn't actually have to ask, because think about it this way: if you have a product manager's job is to push for product. Product manager's job isn't to give a shit about code. Project manager, project manager, their job isn't code. Their job is delivery. When the product manager talks to and let me make a point, because the point is there. So when your product manager talks to the CTO CEO, other teams, stakeholders and stuff, they talk about product delivery. So those people and your customers, they want the product to be good. So product manager doesn't care about the code. So you cannot go to the product manager, for instance, and say, hey, can we refactor this? Because that's not the person to ask about that sort of stuff, right? Neither you can go and ask your CEO about that. So you have to incorporate a strategy where you say, we're going to take 20% of the time for a technical debt, and we're going to address that in this and this and this and this way, right? You cannot expect ever that somebody is going to do that for you, that your product manager is going to come and say, hey, I'm going to, let's just take a month, right? So all of this is, team needs to do this, right? I think when it comes to cross team, even when it comes to super small teams, especially cross teams, I mean, I cannot say more. I'm just talking in general now, but everything can be solved, right? You just have to find the root cause, and you have to create a plan, right? You cannot expect, you cannot do the same things over again. You cannot do the same thing every day and expect a different result, right? So if nobody has approached that team with concrete, so if nobody has approached them and said, look, guys, we think we can do better, let's first figure out what the problem is, and then let's break down the solutions into small steps. You cannot solve a general thing all at once. You have to first find the smaller things that you can change, then start working from there, right? But it depends, right? It's hard to say. What format do you store the time and date for? I don't actually know. It's Postgres date, so it's let's see. And actually, that's a good point. We should store this as actually, yeah, as a date. So this is date time, yeah. They don't have any domain knowledge. Yeah, that's also a huge problem, right? And we just spoke about that right half an hour ago. That's a huge problem of many developers, is that because they still think that their sole job is to write code. I've met so many colleagues of mine in my career where they just get a job. It's like, I don't give a shit about this company or whatever it does. I just want to use this new stack, right? Yeah. What's your opinion on managing remote workers? I'm not a fan of remote teams, honestly. I'm not saying that it's bad. More power to those who do it. I'm all for human interaction and human relation, right? Uh, so I'm not a huge fan of remote stuff, right? Because I don't think the job is just work; it's life as well. So I like to see my colleagues. I like to have a beer here and there and stuff like that. So I don't have much experience at all managing remote teams. I never managed any remote team, right? Yeah, yeah, I mean, all of this, right? That's why I say, right? All of this makes you a good professional, right? Because at the end of the day, you can be a super good programmer, but a super bad professional, right? And then you're still bad, right? That's why it's a huge balance between soft skill and hard skills and so many other things, right? The most important skill for me, if you ask me, in life is learning how to get through people, to people and through people, right? If you can learn those skills, right, that's where the power is. If you can influence people, if you can affect them, that's what people pay for the most, right? Anyone can learn to write React components and build functions that handle requests, right? but to learn those skills, right, that's hard, right? I thank you very much for the sub, man. I appreciate it very much. Thank you. Yep. And I mean, my pleasure, man. My pleasure. And Rav, I mean, be happy, man, right? That's why we still have jobs, because it's good that customers think that they know what they want, and it's good that they don't know that they don't know what they want. Jesus Christ. Give me 1 second. I mean, when I was working at Thinkful, when I was working at the boot camp, right? I worked remotely, right? And I don't think it's healthy. I mean, I'm always genuine, right? I'm always honest in what I say. I don't think that locking yourself in a room or remote office. Well, I mean, I have a remote office here, and I work from home. Sometimes like this week, half of this week I was from home, but that's very, if I get into the feeling doing that sometimes, right? But isolating oneself I just don't think that's natural. I think we as human species, we are meant to be together, right? To work. There's nothing more magical than when you sit in a room with your team on a whiteboard and you discuss things and you laugh and you say stupid shit, right? But again, please don't misunderstand me. Do whatever you feel is good for you. If I'm not trying to shove this up anyone's face, right? If I just my conviction is that we are social beings, and I think uh, you know when I was at Thinkful, right? Maybe after 3 or 4 years, I just couldn't do it anymore. At one point, man, like I swear to God, at one point I installed this Chrome extension that simulates like cafeteria sounds. So I would sit in my office and I would use this Chrome extension that simulated the sound of people, right? And when I did that, I'm like, okay, this probably isn't really good, right? There you go. I mean, we had the same experience, right? So I think if you're a junior, if any of you is a junior, the worst thing you can do to yourself is work remotely. I think I think as we had this whole stream, you have heard a lot of different subjects, and I hope that many of you have understood how crucial it is to learn to sit and work with people, right? This is such an when people talk about remote work, they often undermine or not even mention the importance of juniors going through the process of work, right? Being able to sit across the table, read the emotions, like it's crazy, man. It's crazy. Oh, sorry. I see. My pleasure, Kirill. Thank you. The thing is, again, please, and I think I know that you already do that, but please never understand that. Always understand that. Don't take anything that I say absolute, right? I'm aware that things that I say don't apply to everybody, right? So of course there's exceptions. Of course there are people out there who are completely different, and they genuinely enjoy those things. I'm mostly trying to speak kind of generally, statistically, what I do genuinely think applies to most people. Of course, that there are people out there who are perfectly fine to not really be in the office. I get that, and as I always say, genuinely, more power to that. Like for me, where my team works from is completely up to them. So at Dream Data, we don't force people. If you want to work from home, if you want to work from different continent, it's up to you. I'm very happy though that my team actually chooses to be in the office. In my team, I have two developers who live in Sweden. So literally every morning they sit on a train from Malmo. They drive for like 45 minutes just so they can be in the office. And when you create an environment where people genuinely want to be versus where they must be, that's just magical, right? So I would never force people in modern time to be anywhere, like remote or physical. Like if you want to be in the office, I'm very happy if you want. If not, I would maybe be a bit worried, like initially, like, okay, is someone making you uncomfortable? Is there something you dislike? But I do believe that magic does happen when people sit together. It's just a different feeling. I'm not saying that you cannot jump on Slack or Zoom or Google Hangouts and just discuss things, but it's just different. It's very different. So I just genuinely feel it's very different, right? Of course you can do all of that remotely, and people are going to come at me and say, well, Alex, did you know that GitHub is a fully remote company? It's like, yeah, man, of course there's exceptions. There are huge exceptions out there, and it's certainly possible to build a fully remote successful team, but that also requires a lot of effort, a lot of knowledge, a lot of experience and stuff, right? Yeah, man, exactly. I mean, I would never force people. I would never impose such a silly thing to like force someone in modern time where they want to work from. Like people should be given opportunity to work from anywhere they want, right? I think for me, it's mostly just like I really wish that people choose consciously because they want to work from the office, right? And that's my goal as a tech lead and whatever. I want to make people feel good to want to come to work. It's like I want my team to be like, fuck, I want to go there and have fun and laugh and talk stupid shit over lunch and still do good work, right? Because work isn't just the hard work skills, right? It's more than that. It's uh I see. Okay, great. Have you ever worked for a startup, end up selling, closing? No, no. I mean, I did work. I did work in a startup that failed. It was kind of my own startup in Sweden. I mean, it didn't fail. Yeah, it didn't. It barely even. It barely ever became anything. So I don't. I don't even know if I can say that it failed. I can just say that yeah, it just didn't happen really. But no, I did not. No, I do have shares at Dream Data, right? The startup was a business to business, a huge. Think about Alibaba basically for business. That's what we try to do. It was a business to business enterprise marketplace for selling hard to sell type of products. So things like you want to sell 100 tons of sand or nails, or so it was for big industries basically. And we failed because we were all inexperienced and we didn't know much about business, because we wanted to solve all the world's problems with that platform, right? And then I was part of two accelerators, one incubator and one accelerator in Sweden, and I learned a lot about business there. Because, you know, when you're a young developer, your whole preoccupation is code. You're just thinking like, I want to write React components, right? But when you kind of mature a bit, you then start digging out and figuring out that, well, there's more to do than just code, right? There's, you know, there's this part called business and product and customer and money and you know, uh, but yeah, it was all amazing, amazing experience. I don't regret it 1%. Would you say you learned a lot about business? Absolutely, absolutely. But I learned that because I ask questions. I ask questions to this day. Most of the things I actually am interested at work is business. It's not programming anymore. I mean, I am so just to give you the context, I'm 100% driven at my work. I love my job. I absolutely adore it. Out of that 100% drive, zero comes from programming. So I absolutely don't care about programming aspect of it at all. I'm gonna go write some API, write a React component. I mean, I've been doing that half of my life almost, right? I want to succeed. I wanna, you know, maybe sell my shares eventually. I wanna help the customer. I wanna learn more about business. Every day I wanna know more, right? So you have to reinvent yourself. You have to reinvent constantly. This is an absolutely dynamic thing. Like your interest, your aim is going to change, but you can always find it, right? So at one point in time, you're going to get bored of reacts and apis and buns and nodejs. It's not that I don't get excited about those things as well. Of course, I like to learn new technology, don't take me wrong, but that's no longer even remotely what excites me the most. Good evening, Phantom. Hello from Copenhagen. So you just have to kind of, and yes, that's my main motivation at work, is just really helping the customers, you know, figuring out what do we build, having the autonomy, having you know, uh, Copenhagen, Denmark. Yes, actually, there is a Copenhagen in the U.S. as well, right? I know that you have every single almost European city in the U.S. as well, as well. Oh shit, we have so many things we didn't commit. Okay, this is a bit awkward. Okay, wait. Oh, then the I'm good. I'm good. I'm not a native Dane. No, no, but no, no, I'm definitely not. No. Wow, this is a bit strange. What the heck happened with this thing? Wow. All right. Well, let me just commit this so we don't. We wrote a bunch of this stuff past few streams, and I don't think we've committed anything. It's gonna be the most useless commit message ever, but that's what it is. That's how it is, man. Wow. Okay. There's a lot of crap here. Looks good to me. Exactly. Standard stuff. Standard stuff. That's the beauty of almost doing this on my own. Here and there, Kirill helps, of course, and stuff, but let's face it, that's the privilege I have here, right? I don't have to worry. I can commit whatever I want, however I want. Okay, that's actually awkward. Okay. Okay, are we on the right branch now? Yeah, we are. Okay. Useful commit message. Oh, yeah, okay. Look at this guy. He just spoke philosophy of programming past 2 hours. Useful commit message. Irony. Irony at its best. Good luck with your project. Thank you very much, Zerio. All right, what is the time? What is the time? Beautiful stream, 2 hours and a guys. Let's call it a day. Let's call it a day. It's midnight here. I worked the whole day. I need to go to work tomorrow. Tomorrow we're gonna have a longer stream. Tomorrow we're gonna do like 4 hours or so. It's Friday. If you guys are around tomorrow, bring some beers, bring some food. Let's have good discussions. And yes, thank you very much, guys. Thank you for good questions. Thank you for participating in discussions. Rav, thank you, buddy. Good to have you here. Good to have people like you. It's always quantity. It's always quality over quantity. So having some of you people sticking around for so many months here, thank you very much, Bounty, Kirill, obviously, and all of you guys. I wish you guys well, and stay kind, stay good, stay good to yourselves, and that would be great, Kirill. That would be amazing. Yeah. All right, guys, I'm off. Thank you very much. Have a great one, and I'll see you tomorrow. Peace out. Bye. Cheers. Bye bye. All the best. Cheers. Bye.